Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over the 2022 Cummins and what I've done to it and what it also takes to put a big single charger on a 22 Cummins. So right behind me you can see that it's changed a little bit since last time. So we're going to go over what I've done to it as well as future plans and just overall catching up on everything that I've done. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm using a new gimbal, so we'll see how the quality is. And yeah, let's go ahead and head over there. Clearly, as you can see, we got rid of the powder coat on the wheels. They are a little dirty. I did just get back from Blake Fitzgerald's meet, but they can be cleaned up pretty quickly. I actually didn't curb any this time. I did have one bad tire, went ahead and we replaced that. But as far as the exterior, that's almost everything that I've done differently, is just get rid of the powder coat. Still rocking the same exact size exhaust tip. Might change that in the future. Might need to get a tanner to make me a new exhaust tip. Interior is all the same. The only real thing that's changed is when you pop the hood, there's something a little special now under the hood of this thing. As you can see, there is a little bit different setup under here than your normal 5th gen Cummins. There's usually a big intake right here, and that's been shifted over to this guy. And that little bitty snail that used to be down there is changed over to this big monster. So we'll go ahead and go over everything that's done to this. Still a lot more to come though. There is a stainless diesel S472 8710 5-blade super core turbo. Attached to that is a Steedspeed T4 angled manifold. And then clamping the two of those together is a set of stage 8 locking studs. And then locking the manifold to the block is a set of power-driven diesel locking manifold studs. All the piping is from EvilFAB diesel. And everything is powder coated racing raspberry or polar white. On the other side, we have a Banks Monster Ram intake horn from a 4th gen with a 5th gen Banks fuel line for number 1 cylinder. Running underneath that is a custom made oil catch can for my breather. And then the valve cover is a D&J billet valve cover that was also powder coated. And then underneath the valve cover we have Manton pushrods, Manton valve springs, ARP 625 head studs. The side of the block you can't see, it has billet freeze plugs pressed in. Still don't have the rear coolant bypass in yet. And then for dress up, we have the Fitzgerald Performance fender braces, both sides, as well as the Fitzgerald Performance fuse box cover. Still waiting on more parts to come out from him, such as the radiator cover, hopefully some dress up pieces for these nasty battery boxes, maybe a coolant overflow bottle, as well as some covers for some of these parts up here. So just get rid of some of this nonsense, as well as waiting for a company to create a mirror cover for the hood. So that is everything that is done to the truck as of yet. I still need a few things. I need a lift pump, I need a built trans, and I need to convert the hydraulic roller lifters to solid roller lifters, and Wagler Competition makes that. So that'll take care of most of my issues. And at that point, it should be a 600 horsepower-ish truck. So obviously there's going to be more in the future, but as of now, that is where we're headed with this build. Still have some stuff to do to the exterior. I really want to get these running boards powder coated and then the end caps paint matched to the truck. The wheels are probably going to go ahead and stay. I have full turn radius and I just love it. I mean, you can't beat full turn radius. So went down for the first time to Blake Fitzgerald's shop for his March 4th party. Everything was fine the day we went to leave. It was rainy, but is what it is. All the fluids were checked in the truck. Oil, coolant, brake fluid, everything was checked. Everything was good. I did just add the ATS transmission disaster prevention kit, so that way the transmission fluid doesn't come up, go on the manifold and set the truck on fire. So that was taken care of. The issue we ran into is going through the hills. We were going up and down the hills. Trans fluid stayed cold. It has a coolant bypass on it, and I made sure to tighten it down. I drove it for a day or two before, you know, for a couple, 50, 60, 70 miles. Make sure it was all good. Check the fluid multiple times. It's all good. We went up a big hill and started to come down, let the trucks cool down, let the trucks that were towing heavier than me cool down. And at some point, the fittings on my transmission had loosened up for that coolant bypass. And it's not the manufacturer's fault, it just happens. The line pressure in the transmission, the temperature, the transmission fluid, there's a bunch of factors that I would go ahead and assume contributed to it. So started hearing this little bit of a noise, didn't know where it was coming from. Sounded like something in the front end was broke, like it's a piece of suspension, a bolt was loose, something simple, no big deal. Started driving, got around a hairpin turn. The truck went from 1500 RPM to 3000. I let out of it, obviously, and we had a check engine light. Turns out I had first gear and fourth gear. We lost the rest of them. So I went ahead and told the rest of the guys we need to pull over. I limped it down the road, pulled over, shut it off. Come to find out, all the transmission fluid is dumping out of the coolant bypass. So all the transmission fluid right there, whatever's left in the transmission, was on the ground. And so here I am. Luckily I brought extra coolant, or trans fluid, extra transmission fluid. So filled it back up, unhooked the truck off the trailer. He drove the rest of the way. We decided to cycle the truck from reverse neutral drive, check the fluid. It had a little bit of fluid in it, so it came up on the dipstick. And decided just to, limp it down the road, see if we can get all the gears back, because it was still going, all the gears, except for, it went through park, reverse neutral, and went into first and fourth. So still had some of the gears. Figured that they would come back. So limped it down the road, went to take off up a hill, and only had fourth gear. So here I am with unloaded trailer with a 472 trying to get up this hill. It made it up the hill barely, but you could tell it was just burning. So get to the top of the hill, decide, hey, we need to unhook the truck. I got to put it on the trailer. It's not going to make it. We were about 15, 20 minutes from Bilet's shop at this point. So parked the truck, shut it off. I cleared my check engine lights, unhooked the truck, try to figure out how we're going to move the trucks around to get this truck, under its own power up on the trailer, because all I have is fourth. Go to move my truck, fire it up, and I'm like, this seems really weird. It seems like it's really happy right now. Select the manual selector. I have first gear. Select it again. I have second gear. Again, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Had all my gears back. I'm gonna say, all right, guys, I'm gonna take it down the road, see what we can figure out, see if it'll go. Took it down the road, had all the gears back. So happy as it could be. I know the transmission is damaged, still drives, but the key factor is that it ran out of all of its fluid because of multiple factors, just played perfectly, just lined up perfectly in order to pop that fitting off. And it still drives under its own weight. So 68 RFEs get a bad rep, but I think it's just about the scenario at which it happens that they go out. So this is at nobody's fault. It's just one of those freak accidents. So nobody got hurt. I gotta put a built trans in it now, which is the next thing I'm probably gonna be doing, is a built trans, but nobody got hurt. That's the key factor in this. But wound up hooking the trailer up to Tanner's truck. Tanner towed it the rest of the way. And when we got there, I already decided in my mind that Transmission's already hurt. It's already going out. We had already decided that we were going to put it on the trailer and tow it back. So let's go ahead and do a burnout. So that's what we proceeded to do. Is as soon as we got there to the show, did a burnout. That was the whole one I did the whole weekend. It didn't hurt the transmission. I know people are gonna be like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have done that. It didn't hurt the trans. Trans is already hurt. Didn't add anything extra to it. It was third gear lockup. Didn't stay on very long. Trans temp didn't get over 120. So transmission was already hurt. Didn't hurt it at all anymore. So had a great time there. I'll probably add some footage in of the event, but had a great blast. Actually, Tanner and I and Michael actually won trophies. Top 10. I think there was 300 trucks there. Anyway, the truck is back. I am back. I'm better than ever. And hopefully we'll be doing some more to this thing in the future. But go ahead and get some sound clips of it. And we're gonna go ahead and I'll see you next one.